Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 263. It is Friday. It has been such a week, a busy, packed week here, and I'm sure for you also. So it feels really good to say Friday. We have sunshine here in Cincinnati. It's still hot and sticky. There are a lot of leaves to blow and lawn to mow and work to do outside this weekend, and it feels good. It feels good to still be in some of the summer weather. Okay, we are wrapping up a week of travel, virtual travel, energetic soul travel, human travel, philosophical travel. It has been really fun to play in this way and in this space with all of you, and I just trust that there's been value that you have received in it also. So, of course, the way that we wrap up this week is round trip. It was so funny when the idea came to me in my meditation. I'm like, of course it has to be round trip. We start here and we end here. We begin here and we complete here. Of course it has to be round trip. So let's philosophize a little together. In the human journey, in the travel journey, when we purchase an airplane ticket, we have the option of one way or round trip. And sometimes it works well for us to buy 2 one-way tickets, one way there and then one way back. And it's cheaper and it's more efficient and we can move around as we need to. And often there's a better price, a better flow if we do a round trip ticket. So we start here, we buy the tickets where we want to go, and then it gives us the same exact flight pattern coming home. So many of us are familiar with that idea, and what does that have to do with everything we've been talking about this week? Consciousness expanding, people becoming more love, humans awakening and evolving on this planet, souls in the human bodies awakening and evolving, figuring out which seat we want and what kind of experience we want to create and what plane we want to be on. And there's been so much that we have looked at together. This idea of round trip to me feels like it's connected to what some would call karma. When we are having lots of one-way trips in human journeys, so we are a soul, we come down to earth, we have this experience, it's insane, it's busy, it's difficult, it's challenging, whatever it is. And then we return to being a soul. It's a way of learning and advancing and exploring more at a consciousness love level. And so we are accumulating experiences along the way, some which we complete in one lifetime. So perhaps we come here to explore health, and so we have the full circle of health. We have bad health, poor health, and then we come all the way around to optimal health. Perhaps we come to explore finance or receiving, allowing abundance. So we come in and we're rich and wealthy and we lose it all, and then we regain and we come back to wealth again. And so we have this full experience in this one human journey. I guess that would be called a mini round trip. It's the short version of the round trip. What often happens is that we come to Earth and it's super intense, completely overwhelming, way chaotic, way more challenging than we ever thought. And so we don't make it all the way around through the full lesson. We don't play at our best, perhaps, with some of the people in our lives. And so there is this thing that they call karma that is kind of left hanging out there. Maybe we get into some of the growth and then it's a little too challenging, and so we stop and we numb out, or we go to sleep, or we leave a relationship, or we disconnect from something that we have created that was teaching us something really powerful. And it was too much, so we just walk away. What happens is that thread that's sort of left unhanging, is left hanging undone, it needs to be completed, woven into the tapestry, brought back into full circle. And so if we are moving through many human incarnations, we will accumulate lots of these little threads that are kind of hanging out there. At least that's the way I like to see it. What I believe is possible at this time on our planet is that we are tying up all the loose ends. We are bringing full circle, round trip, those things that were not yet completed. And so the people that maybe we have, there's a couple ways to say it. We're definitely completing the karma from this current lifetime. So the things that have happened to us earlier in our lives that need to be brought to the surface to be explored and healed are going to be brought to the surface and explored and healed. And so that full round trip is going to happen for this lifetime for sure. We are all being offered that opportunity. What is happening at the same time in a parallel energy is the old karma is also coming up for completion. So maybe you have been to Earth many times and you have had many experiences, and money has been a thing that you've had lots of in some lives and none of in other lives. Or power, you've had lots of power and abused it and used it for good in some lives. And you've had no power and felt helpless and victimized and revengeful and whatever other experiences you've created with power. You've had all these different varieties of it, but it hasn't come full circle for you. It hasn't landed. The full experience of power in its complete range and capacity hasn't been anchored and completed for you. And so what is possible at this time on our planet is that you are able to do the full round trip. The things that you have been working on are coming up so that you can finally receive the fullness of the experience, the lesson. You can come to a sense of completion with it and then dissolve it. And then it's no longer a thing that you have to be worrying about, and you can move on to some other round trip ticket, to some other thing that you want to master or experience. We are moving towards a full moon tomorrow in Pisces, not Virgo, like I said earlier in the week. And that is a time of the subconscious really bringing up the hidden aspects, the things that are ethereal, unknown in some ways, sort of just out of reach. They are being illuminated. And what that can look like is a spotlight being turned on you in a way that is intimidating. What would the word be? Like candid camera, like suddenly the spotlight is on you. You're like, wait, what? When they do the kiss cam at the baseball games, and there's some couples who are like, what? We're not kissing? No, this is like my friend, not my lover. And then there's all that like drama, and it's all playing out on the kiss cam. It can feel like that when we know that karma is coming up for completion, and this full moon is spotlighting it, bringing it all the way out into the light for us. We can feel very exposed. That's the word. Very exposed and very vulnerable, and not sure why it's even happening. So perhaps this idea of round trip can make it a little softer and gentler for you. It's an opportunity for you to see how something is coming to a completion. The energy that has been building and building and building is culminating in this easy landing and then releasing. And how do we do that without pain or struggle or more suffering than we've already experienced? Simply allow the experience to happen. Release the resistance. Stop trying to fight that the lights are turning on. It's like when I was saying yesterday, the cabin window shutters on the windows are being opened because you're getting ready to land the plane, and all that light is coming in from, the surface of the earth into the airplane. Some people in the middle are like, no, 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 no. No, close the cover. But it's opening. There's no way around it. It's happening. So as much as possible, relaxing your body and easing your mind with these ideas that I've presented, giving your mind some construct that doesn't make it feel so strange or unfamiliar. We can all picture what it looks like to open up the window shades. Even if we've never been on a plane, we've seen it enough in the movies and images to know what that looks like. So allow your body to feel the safety of, this is something familiar. I may not have the words for it. I don't quite understand karma. I don't really understand souls or humans or why we pick Earth, but I understand opening a window shade. I understand the idea of buying a round-trip ticket and completing some circular energy flow that I started, right? I buy the round-trip ticket. I know when I begin this relationship or begin this job or begin this project, begin this initiative, this movement, it's going to come full circle back around to me. So can I relax into that and just allow the energy to do the work, allow the energy to flow through me and around, and then land. Yeah, then it's perhaps not so scary. It's like realizing, okay, there's a full moon tomorrow. The full moon is going to bring lots of light in the middle of the dark. I know what that looks like. I know that the night sky is going to be a lot brighter. When I'm driving around, it's going to look like there's a light on in the middle of the black sky. I know what that means. So what if I can feel that in my body, in my life, in my behaviors, in my relationships? The lights are getting turned on. And so the places that have felt dark and unfamiliar and unknown are now slowly, maybe a little more quickly for some, the lights are turning on in those spaces. And I know what happens when lights turn on. I can see more. I can understand more. Things start to make a little more sense. Even if I don't like that I'm looking at this person or at this thing or at this pattern or at this old story, the idea of the lights being turned on makes it less scary. And then knowing it's not just you, it's all of us. It's all of humanity. We are all being offered this opportunity to come round trip, to complete karma, to use our voices to share things that perhaps we haven't shared before, to voice emotions that maybe we haven't had the words for before. But we're all doing it. We're all figuring it out in our own ways. And yeah, as we do that, we can all start to exhale and breathe a little more deeply. Release some of the anxiety and the overwhelm. And know that this full moon is going to pass, and we're going to go through a cycle of moving back to a new moon, and there's going to be more energy coming, and then we'll move to another full moon. And this cycle of buying round-trip tickets is just going to continue slowly moving. This cycle right now is a powerful one. If we are willing to keep our eyes open and to look at what is right in front of us, we can move a whole bunch of karma very, very easily, very quickly, and with support, knowing we're not doing it alone. It's like, it's a funny example, but it's the one that comes to mind. It's like when you know you have to go to the bathroom and you're crossing your legs like a little child and you're bouncing up and down and jumping and telling your mother, like, I just have to go to the bathroom, I have to go. And you're trying to hold it in, but you can't because you know you gotta go. And the longer you hold it in, the more intense the feeling becomes, until finally, like, you're this little child who has an accident. You're so embarrassed, right? This has happened to so many children. And maybe it's because the mother isn't listening, or there's not a good dialogue between the mother and the child, or life is busy, or who knows, there's a million reasons. We are all now grown-ups. If you're listening to this, my guess is you're a grown-up. Or at least we're on our way to being grown-ups. So we have the right, the option, the responsibility to say, I need to release some old stuff. And that means I need a time out to go to the bathroom, to go take a nap, to go talk to a friend, to go walk in the park. I need to go do some releasing of this old pain, this old story, this old karma that is finally ready to complete. Because I know the relief I will feel after I release all of that old stuff, that toxicity from my body, mind, spirit. Who I will be on the other side of that is so much better for me and for everyone around me. And so as grown-ups, we are the ones who create that time and that pause to do that releasing work. As I say that, and as I bring this idea of a round trip forward for all of us, I remind you again, there is no end to the journey. There's just going to be another round trip ticket we're going to buy that is going to take us into some other journey and experience. But when we are completing a round trip that has been very painful, or a round trip that has caused us mental anguish or confusion, or has limited us in some way, when we complete that round trip, we can start looking at the options of what's next with way more fun, way more possibility and joy and delight. It's like the child who goes to the bathroom and then they come running back to their mom, and my dog does this. We take him outside to the bathroom and he goes, does his thing, and then we bring him inside, and then all of a sudden he's got all this energy and he's running these big infinity symbols looping back around between the dining room table and around the couches and back to the dining room, and he just does this like because he suddenly has all this energy. It's the same for us. When you create the time and the space to complete old karma that has been heavy and exhausting and limiting you, when you complete that, you will be amazed. You will be amazed at how much energy you have for the next round trip, and how much more expansive the possibilities for that round trip become, and the creative ideas that flow through you. And then suddenly everyone wants to be on your airplane where you're going round trip because you're having so much fun. Instead of the crossing your legs and jumping up and down and being in pain and torture. So you'll know which part of this is a match for you. And trust whichever way you're guided to move. If there's karma to be completed, give yourself the pause and complete the karma. And if you're done with all that, and this idea of round trip reminds you just how far you've come and how much you've done, awesome. Sit down, plan the next place, the next event, the next possibility, the next creation. Begin another round trip. If you know the karma's done, let's create something new and fun instead. Align with the power of this full moon in Pisces. Let it support you and come up underneath you and guide you into whatever is possible for you next. And yeah, I'll see you back here on Monday because the journey continues. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me in aligning with the optimal health of your mind, body, spirit in the virtual community of Viv's Energy Gym. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.